Jimmy Thái xin kính chào quý vị khán giả của VNTV San Diego. Thưa quý vị, trong phòng thâu phim của chúng tôi hôm nay, xin mời quý vị gặp một tài năng rất là trẻ. Cô là đạo diễn kiêm nhà sản xuất những phim tài liệu. Đó là cô Adele Phạm. Hello Adele.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit of your background about film and producing and things in that nature to our audience, please?
I have always been fascinated by storytelling.
Okay.
I grew up next to a second-run movie theater.
Okay.
So, you know, after the movie's been in the theater, it goes to the second-run movie theater.
Right.
So I used to go watch double features for $1.75, and that's where I saw my first documentary, not a CNN documentary, but a film called Crumb about the artist Robert Crumb. And ever since then, I had it in my head that that was the kind of movie that I was into, real stories. And even the books that I read, I like nonfiction books. But it did take me a while to start to work at that goal because, you know, I thought maybe I wanted to make some money. My dad definitely wanted me to make some money. So I thought, I always liked words, I liked writing. I said, okay, I'll be an English major and then I'll go to law school, right? But after a while, I started to realize that life is short and I think I just want to pursue my dream and see where it goes.
Oh, awesome. Sounds very, very interesting. Now, speaking of interesting, your latest documentary film, Nailed It, right? So, to me, documentaries are about telling certain aspect of life. So, in making Nailed It, what message, what aspect of life that you want to convey to your viewers?
Well, so many Vietnamese people do nails.
Right.
And I always wondered why it was a niche business for our people, our culture, right?
Right.
Why is what led me to it. And in answering that question, I learned a very unique history and how pretty much the very first Vietnamese refugee women who came to the US with their husbands who were in the South Vietnamese military were introduced to the nail industry, and then the way that Vietnamese community communicates with each other, you know, it's very chatty, it's very gossipy, right? And so the word just spread from them. So even though they were not perhaps the women that started the chain nail salons, I really believe the idea came from the first 20 Vietnamese women who were introduced to the trade by the actress Tippi Hedren, who was famous for her role in The Birds.
The Birds, that's
Alfred Hitchcock movie. So when I ask everyday Vietnamese people, even people who made millions off of the nail industry, I ask them, where did it come from? How did we get into it? And they don't know. Their answer is always, well, we do it because we came here and we couldn't speak English, We didn't have the time to go get a 4-year college degree. We had children already that we needed to support. And we're good business people, and it's a family business. You can work with your family. You can live in the same house with your family and save money, And then you can learn the trade and then spring out to another state, other than California, perhaps, where there are not so many Vietnamese people, you know, went to Texas, then Florida, you know, and Vietnamese people live in enclaves all over the US, and wherever there's the population of Vietnamese people, they run the nail salon industry.
Awesome. And I believe in I have an opportunity to preview your films, and that's an $8 billion industry? Wow, it's mind-boggling. And 48% of them are owned by Vietnamese?
Yeah, it really depends on where you are in the country. So where I live in New York right now, there's not as many Vietnamese people. So in Manhattan, the nail industry has been run by Koreans for a long time, And then in Brooklyn, where I live, it's like 100% Chinese. But they kind of moved in on it. I believe that the trade originated in California and actually spread east as California became saturated with nail salons.
Yeah, I think that's probably correct because I have a few friends start out here and then they start moving east as well. Now, so share with us some of your wonderful, great experience and something is not so good during your process of making the movie and promoting it as well.
Well, I'm only half Vietnamese,
Yeah.
and I've always had some Vietnamese friends, but maybe not the strongest connection to my culture.
Yes.
So making this film, I've just met really interesting, wonderful, hilarious Vietnamese people who often have my same last name, Pham,
Pham.
So
That's
it's
right.
been reconnecting to my people in a roundabout way, very interesting, and I really see that this is preserving our history in the United States after the Vietnam War.
Right.
I believe that the nail salon has put countless, second generation doctors, pharmacists, lawyers, professionals,
That's right.
into an established place in American society, right? Where they can live the free life that our parents came here for, right? So, I really haven't had any negative experiences other than fundraising, and being really passionate about this product and project and wanting to get it done. But there's just not a lot of funding for documentary filmmaking. I think that in the Vietnamese culture, especially the older generation, they don't necessarily want to be on camera. And I don't know exactly where that comes from. It might come from, being in a communist country. Like, you don't want the people to know everything. You don't want everyone to know your business. You don't want, if you became very successful at the nail industry, you might not necessarily want everybody to know that, right?
That's right.
But at the same time, we love flash. We do. We love pageants and variety shows and celebrity. Yeah. So that's something that I'm trying to translate for people a bit. But most of all, that this is our American history, and we need to preserve it because nobody else is going to do it for us. Right. There have been a few other documentaries made by Americans about the Tippi Hedren story. Right. But it stops there. Yeah. And the real story is, how many thousands of people family members have we brought over through the nail salon as a mechanism for, economic stability in this country. Yeah. It's really fascinating.
It is. And to me, beside all the fascination from the economic standpoint and the family value that you brought it up, and also, the heritage that helped a lot of doctors and dentists and professional people from all of the nail salons, what really touched me about the movie, you try to expose the chemical risks, right? The long exposure to all of these hazardous chemicals. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
I think everybody who really works in the nail salon knows that none of the products are good for you. Even, the non-liquids and powders, the gel that's so popular right now. Just because you can't smell it doesn't mean that it's not a deadly poison. That's just the reality of the situation. And I think that a lot of older generation, they're kind of stoic about it. If they become sick, they don't necessarily want everybody to know that they're sick, right? It's very sad if, you have a miscarriage and you don't know exactly if that happened because you worked for too long in the nail salon without it being properly ventilated. But studies do show that you are at a higher risk for miscarriage if you are exposed to these chemicals for too long during the day, right? And I think maybe a little bit of our trauma, well, we're hard workers and we're good business people and we're industrious, but at a certain point, you do have to take a step back and say, okay, well, how am I gonna use my wealth to improve the nail industry for the next generation? Correct. And I think a lot of Vietnamese people that came up through the nail salon, they don't want their kids to do that either, right? So how can we make it an industry where we can be proud of it and we can sustain it, and we can be running it in the next generation? Because right now, there's a decline because you do want your children to do something that perhaps takes, 8 years of medical school, right? That's the dream for your kid. Who knows, right? But I think a lot of people have the notion that I sacrificed so in the nail salon, even to the point of my health failing for my children to get to the next level, right? Because they have that language skill and they're able to blend in American culture more easily. But we still run it. Nail supply stores, we run that too. So there's a lot of Vietnamese people that really depend on that industry, and it's still a mechanism for people coming from Vietnam, to become financially stable.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes, very quick, very easy. Now, very interesting subject that we can talk for hours. But my interesting is what would be your next project and all of the experience that you learned from making the movie NailedIt, how that benefit you for your next project.
I mean, I never thought I would know this much about the nail industry.
Yeah.
I didn't even grow up getting my nails done. I only started getting my nails done when I started doing this product. But product, keep calling it a product, but it is a product.
It is a product.
That's
right.
Like a baby. I've been working on it for a while. But you know, now I kind of love the industry, and I love the process of meeting a nail tech, a Vietnamese nail tech, maybe interviewing them, you know, and then they're doing my nails, and we're getting to know each other, and we're actually physically touching each other. I think in this culture, we don't really touch each other that much. We're not very affectionate with each other, and there can be something very warm and affectionate through the nail salon. And I think that in the future, Vietnamese people need to work smarter, not harder. They need, it's all about the relationships. That's what Calvin St. Pham, you know, my producer on the film and the character in the film says. It's all about your relationships, kind of like sales.
That's correct.
Right?
That's right.
So if you have a client that loves you, they will follow you to another state. They will follow you to the ends of the earth because, you know, that's my girl or my guy. There's a lot of women, their nail tech is a man and they love him and they won't go see anybody else, right?
Oh, interesting.
Yes. In the Vietnamese community, they say 30% of the nail techs are men. I think it's a little bit lower than that, but you know, Viet Salon magazine has done studies and that's what they say. So the next move, honestly, might be not transitioning from film, but getting into the beauty supply industry with products that I think are safer for the salon. And, you know, really translating that for Vietnamese people and finding a way to improve the health of the salon so it's sustainable, so we can really take this to the next generation and be proud of it. Yeah. You know, this is something that we invented. There were no independent nail salons before Vietnamese people got here. There was hair salons with a nail tech, maybe a nail tech inside. But I mean, we really are responsible for co-producing that industry along with, you know, chemical companies and all the people that, you know, helped us develop that, you know.
And a lot of professional offsprings from that too, so.
Oh yeah, yes, many, right.
That's right. Now, here's my last question related to your passion for filmmaking. I know there's a lot of high schoolers, there are a lot of young college students out there that might interest in this filmmaking career and stuff like that. Any practical advice do you have for this youngster?
Yeah, you know, I'm actually in San Diego because the Pacific Arts Movement, who does the San Diego Asian Film Festival, showed a work in progress of NailedIt for their spring showcase. And the Pacific Arts Movement has a program for young people to learn the tenements of documentary filmmaking, right? Wow. So a lot of these programs exist for youth because it is possible, it's not easy, but it's possible to get grants to develop these programs for young people. So just go on the internet and see what's available in your area for young people that want to learn filmmaking, and I guarantee you there's something there. And I think if you have it in your head that this is something you want to do for a profession when you grow up, you know, when you're paying your own bills, you owe it to yourself to really see if this is something that you want to be passionate about, because it does take sacrifice, and it can't be your central focus. You know, you have to be driven by art and accept that. But I think the more you learn about it before you make the decision about whether you go to art school, whether you pursue this into your adulthood, is something that you can do as a teenager. You might even get a leg up. You might even, honestly, you might not even have to go to college. I don't encourage that, but you know, it's all about connections that you make in this world.
Oh, that's very interesting. All right, thank you so much for your time. Dạ, kính thưa quý vị, thì để tóm tắt lại cái buổi phỏng vấn với cô Adele Phạm, thì cái ba cái điều mà cô Adele muốn khuyến khích tới tất cả những cái bạn trẻ ngoài đó mà muốn có cái passion, có cái nhiệt tình muốn theo đuổi cái nghề làm phim giống như cô Adele, thì thứ nhất là cô khuyến khích tất cả các bạn nên bắt đầu từ khi chúng ta còn nhỏ. Chúng ta có thể làm những cái chuyện nhỏ với là cái Pacific Arts ở San Diego này, có thể xin grant, có thể học hỏi Và từ từ là cái điều thứ hai là có thể là mình sẽ làm từ từ rồi mình thấy là cái nghề này có thật sự là cái nghề mình passion hay không, trước khi mình vào đại học hay trước khi mình bỏ rất là nhiều tiền để mà đi học một cái ngành như vậy, hay là theo đuổi cái mộng như vậy. Và cái điều cuối cùng mà cô Adele khuyến khích với các bạn là nếu mà mình đã thích cái gì rồi mà mình có cái đam mê thì mình phải nên đi làm thử, chứ nếu mà không có làm thử thì một tội khi các bạn về già rồi thì các bạn lại biết hối tiếc là cái tuổi trẻ mình đã không có theo đuổi những cái mộng ước mà mình đã quyết định làm như vậy. Thì với cái phần tóm tắt như vậy thì Jimmy Thái xin tạm ngưng cái chương trình phỏng vấn hôm nay. Thành thật cảm ơn cái sự theo dõi của quý vị và hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong kỳ tới. Xin kính chào quý vị.